Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah, and I'm not gonna say anything.
Where's the
I
cover?
would do.
Can you hear us, Cody?
After.
Say something. Say something.
I got it.
I don't know if his
Oh.
audio is on.
Unmute yourself. Let's see. There you
He should be on that screen so that he looks
He's
like
on
he's
that
in
one
the
up there.
chairman's seat.
go. I know, right? That's it.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, hang put it.
Okay, great.
You rent a gavel out there where you can call a meeting
Here, Ed,
over?
you
Oh, yeah, this one.
can gavel
You
them
go
in.
ahead. You go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, you power it all. Okay. Call the meeting to order. And, have a roll call here.
All right.
Suzanne, if you could do that.
Chairperson Cody Abney,
Present.
Vice Chair Ed Fleming,
Here.
Panelist Jack Bose,
Here.
Panelist Rogers Holt,
Here.
and brand new panelist Craig Good.
Yeah.
Biggs. Thank you.
What'd you say, bugs?
Mike's
Okay,
on.
Brand new.
next, if I'm going on this thing, I'm going to do, the next is, we have a forum, obviously.
Yes, sir.
Go to count and public comment. So you're the public.
None?
Yeah.
All
Do
right.
we have any written comments? to
No,
report?
sir.
Okay, then next we have a report from our Platinum Road panel liaison. So now you favor us with your report.
There is really nothing more to report than everyone is looking forward to, having a really nice contract to approve at our upcoming council meeting.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for all your hard work getting us here. Okay, reporting, by you, Kevin, so you don't have anything to report. Okay. Then new business is to discuss and take appropriate action on a contractor recommendation to city council for the 2023 Wood Creek Roads project. So,
Yeah,
Go.
I'll kind of do the introduction and then I'll let y'all just do whatever y'all want to do. Last Tuesday, we received, or we opened the sealed bids. We had 7 bids for the road project. We had a number of those individuals here in attendance while we opened up the bids. We opened up the bids and we, said who it was from and then what the base bid price was. From there, we went to, K-Freeze, looked at the bids that were received, make sure that all of the documentation in the bids was there. They weren't missing any documentation. Also double check the numbers that they had on the bid sheet. And then, they came up with a recommendation on the score sheet that I emailed out earlier this week. In addition to that, once we received the bids, Council Member Bailey did a fine job of doing a lot of the analysis on the per unit cost for each line item, the total bid, and then me and Cody, we did the variance from the average to come up with that. The 4 people that evaluated the bids were K-Freeze, Chairman Abney, Councilmember Bailey, and myself. And in the packet that I sent you last week, I believe, it had the 4 score sheets from all 4 of us, how we scored each one and what we scored them as. There were 4 different criteria that we looked at. First one is the lowest bid. And that is a pure who had the lowest
Yeah.
number. Bid comparison, that is the total base bid closest to the average of all of the bids. So if we took the 6 bids that we have,
Yeah.
we got 7, one didn't qualify because it didn't have the required information.
Uh,
So we only evaluated 6.
6.
And so the bid comparison is, total base bid closest to the average of the 6 that we had. And so those are pretty much, stationary, numbers that you really can't change. And then kind of the subjective portion is the, appropriate experience that we rated, and past performance is what we rated on those. And those are variables that are subject to interpretation by whoever's doing those. When we received those, came back and, we had different opinions on the qualified bidders. I will tell you that, how it came out is Hayden was at 2.148 million. Newberry was at 2.152 million. Lone Star was at 2.405 million. Blacksmith, 2.607. Alpha was 2.645. New Bennett was at 2.682. There were a couple of items on here that didn't match up to the others. Might have been low or might have been high. And so we contacted, those vendors to see why that might be the case.
Good.
And so we kind of know on one of them, if it's higher, it's just, they have a different way of bidding it than the other people. Some people do a straight cost bid.
Yeah.
Some do a percentage bid. Let's take mobilization, for example. Some companies do they say 1% of whatever the bid cost is instead of their mobilization cost. Others look at it and say, okay, how much is it gonna cost us for gas, fuel, and trucking? And that's it. There's no profit margin on that part. The profit margin is in other sections. So that's why it may be often you see something really skewed. Some of these numbers you can look for yourself, and judge from that on whether it's realistic to do what they wanted to do with that bid price compared to the average and compared to the other people. We'll let you do that. So to the analysis, K-Freeze from their score sheet, had Hayden as the number 1 pick. Cody, Chairman Abney, had Alpha Paving as the number 1 pick. Councilmember Bailey had Lone Star Paving as the top pick, and I had Lone Star Paving as the top pick as well. Also in there, you have the score sheet and the weighted average kind of for each one. I think that I am not going to recommend one contractor over another. I think that's where y'all need to come in and look at what we provided you in the analysis, and y'all can discuss that and see where you want to come up at. I think there are 3 to 4, 2 to 3, let's go 2 to 3 very good candidates in here, that I think would do a great job. I think all these firms are great. We got a wonderful response on the bid. To have 7
You
bids
did.
for our roads is amazing. The cost came in better than we expected. And so the hard job now is to evaluate them and pick somebody to come in here and do it. One thing in our procurement policy, it says that, you do not have to pick the lowest bid.
Yeah.
There are other factors to consider, and those will be the past experience that can be, subject to interpretation. So it does not necessarily count only on the lowest bid. It's something to consider, but it's not the all and everything, whoever comes in the lowest. There's a lot of other factors that you as the board get to decide and recommending to council which vendor that we should use. Cody, did I leave anything out that you would like to interject?
No, I think that was a very good summary, Kevin. Thank you for that. And I guess y'all already know what my choice is based on Kevin's statement just now. I do not believe in hiring the low bidder. The fact that we got all of these qualified bids is hard for me to believe. The fact that all of them are within budget is even harder for me to believe. The fact that we're going to have a budget surplus is hardest of all. I wasn't expecting any of these three outcomes to the extent that we are able to enjoy them here now. Frankly, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. Those three things being said are the reason why I definitely did not choose the low bidder. I didn't choose the high bidder either. I think that I chose, from my personal experience, twice now, I think I chose the most capable contractor, and I think that my choice would be the one that it's absolutely the best that the city can afford, and the city can afford it. Knowing that it's the best, I can't recommend another contractor because we can afford it, and we don't have to struggle to afford it. We're going to have a surplus. So in my opinion, we should absolutely go with the proven best contractor. That being said, the Lone Star, which was the choice of Council Member Bailey and Manager Rule, I think they are equally qualified to do the work. I think they have the horsepower to do it. They probably have the quality control and quality assurance to give us a comparable product to Alpha, but I don't know them like I know Alpha. I don't know anybody that works at Alpha, not a single person there. I couldn't pick them out of a lineup, but I've seen their work. They worked for me in my professional life, and I saw what they did on Wood Creek Drive. I watched it firsthand. I drove down there in the middle of it and watched it take place. And I just, in good conscience, I can't recommend a different contractor. I've been doing commercial contracting for 30 years. I've never seen anybody perform the way they perform. I just haven't, not even close. So that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you.
One comment.
Go ahead.
Simply, referencing what Chair Abney said. I actually agree with them. When I did a score, I kind of just looked at the years of experience. What I was seeing is broke down to was which of these contractors actually knows how to do residential. A lot of them have lots of experience in heavy commercial, but we want a finessed project.
Absolutely.
And I did find some negative comments on Lone Star, but I didn't really know how to evaluate that. There were just there were some Better Business Bureau things where they had not followed back up on repairs. But they were some smaller contracts, but I'm just gonna bring that out. What we do know about Alpha, they can do a great job.
Yeah.
We've seen it, so.
Let me just comment about what Cody just said. You know, I have no experience at all in construction, other than home projects. But Cody has had his hands dirty in the business. I mean, he's been in the trenches with these people. He knows the construction business. And I just have to lead my opinion toward what he just said. Now, obviously, we've seen what Wood Creek Drive. I mean, I couldn't believe they did it in 2 days. The other thing that was remarkable, I'm not aware of one citizen complaining about their performance. That's something. I mean, you know, they didn't leave trash in somebody's yard.
Yeah.
I think people were astounded they got it done in 2 days. But I don't know of one public comment, and I could be wrong. I mean, you're closer to it.
No, I was wrecking my
I
brain.
don't know of anybody that got on the social media and badmouth anything in that operation, and that's pretty damn astounding.
That's a first.
You know, I mean,
And that
people-
includes people on Wood Creek.
that's what I'm saying.
But not just inconvenience.
And there was a
getting-
lot of inconvenience, but people accepted, there's no complaining. And that to me goes a long way in the performance and contract. But you know, a little bit higher, a little higher. The thing about, you know, how we got in lower than the bid, I mean, the K-Freeze thing had us at 2.9, but if I look at K-Freeze analysis, hell, they're, in one case, they're 467% higher, and so I don't, what I call in the government work is a should cost. The should cost from K-Freeze is just completely out of the ballpark, but that's just a secondary comment, probably doesn't mean anything here, but anyway, I know, Kate, I know there's a difference of $239,000. $239,000 between Alpha and Lone Star. And of course, that 239 could go, you know, a long way for our little city, but at the same time, you know, I just have to kind of follow the Alphas.
So that.
I'll have to ask city manager, is there a chance of negotiating with Alpha?
Yes, once we, city council, whoever we choose, it doesn't matter if it's Alpha or whoever, we will, engage them in negotiations. There are some items on the bid sheet that we may not use, such as, seeding on the side of our roads. They don't need to come and throw grass seed on the side of the roads. One, I don't think would grow right now because it's so hot. And two, there's really nowhere where they need to throw grass seed. So that, also the tree canopy in some spots needs to be trimmed. That's one thing that the city could hire out to do, probably at a cheaper cost. And so, yes, we will negotiate or go into contract negotiations with whoever we get to get the final contract.
Well, that's good news. Yes, sir, you want to say something, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I got it.
Anything, but,
No, rookies are supposed to listen.
okay. Yeah, you're done, we know where you stand. Rogers, you have a,
Well, before I came in here, based on what I saw here only, I was pretty well leaning towards Alpha because they did such a good job at a proven product, and when you eat up a lot of money if you're not careful, and
That's true.
I haven't heard anything different that says I wouldn't go with that for the Alpha.
well, that's my feeling too. I think this is probably, since this Wood Creek came to be, this is probably the biggest undertaking we've done since inception. And I just watched them when I heard that was gonna be done in 2 days. I was saying, you know, well, show me, that's interesting, but they mobilized so well and did just a great job. And it was a great demonstration. And we're gonna need that kind of precision to get people in and out of neighborhoods on these little roads and pave half one day and half, you know, it's gonna take some real coordination, which they showed they could certainly do. I'm sure Lone Star is qualified to do so, but you know, these guys showed us what they could do, and I'd rather go with them. And I was counsel, I'd negotiate them down a little bit. But that's my thinking too. Like Cody, he's out there in the trenches with these guys. And I go a lot with what he thinks I value his experience and ours also as well. That's how I feel. You want to vote? Cody, or you?
Somebody needs to make a motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I'd like to make a motion then with our chairman gone that we recommend to council the contractor to be Alpha, who showed us what a great job they could do before for their consideration. And you want to call roll on the vote?
I'll second the
Right,
motion.
second. All right, here we go. Thank you. We have a motion And a second, Suzanne has the ball.
Chair Abney,
Yes.
Vice Chair Ed Fleming,
Yes.
panelist Craig Big,
Yes.
panelist Jack Bose,
Yeah,
panelist Roger Scholl.
Yes,
oh, that's right.
Okay, the motion carries. That is our recommendation to council. And, thank all of y'all. And I thank you for being such a great liaison and helping us through and everyone here. So we'll get this back to you as soon as we can. But, thanks, everybody. So, Pat,
Excellent.
is there anything on the business to Kevin that we need to discuss?
No, sir, we can adjourn.
Okay, then, without any other motion, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank y'all.
You.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Cody.
Yeah.
I'll get with you about recommendations to council.
Yeah, I'll do my best to be in town to be at the council meeting, but I may have to call in like this because I may be in Tahlequah again.
That's fine. We'll talk offline tomorrow.
All right, I gotta go down. I need to go downstairs and hire a plumber. I'll holler at y'all later.
Kelly, do we have a meeting on the seventeenth?
Yes, sir.
I keep seeing online, I didn't know if it's canceled or.
Yeah,
We're still
that's
working on it.
And one of those subjects gonna be, you know,
Stop this.
Uh,